Liam Neeson is more than a name on a movie poster. He is a force shaped by hardship, resilience, and a rare capacity to carry sorrow with dignity. From the factory floors of Northern Ireland to Hollywood's most iconic roles, his life reads like a story written in storm clouds and sunlight. He became Oscar Schindler, a man whose compassion defied war itself. He became Brian Mills, a father who would stop at nothing to save his child. He became Qui-Gon Jinn, the calm presence that steadied a galaxy. Yet the actor whose voice could move mountains and whose eyes held oceans of grief also faced a pain no script could fix. The woman he loved most died in his arms, leaving a silence so profound it changed him forever. Now at 73, after a career of epic roles and global fame, one question remains. Has peace finally found him, or does darkness still whisper behind those calm eyes? A childhood born from ashes, Liam Neeson was born June 7, 1952, in Ballymena, Northern Ireland, a town scarred by poverty and political tension. The streets were grey, the skies heavy, and hope seemed like a luxury his family could not afford. Roman Catholics in a Protestant community, the Neesons were working-class people who lived with quiet pride and constant struggle. Their home had only 3 rooms, shared by 6 family members, where silence was the rule, and warmth was rare. His father Barney cleaned school hallways, while his mother Kitty worked as a cook, returning home with scalded hands and an empty stomach. There were no fights, no shouting, only the quiet distance poverty builds between people too tired to dream. Liam was the only boy among 3 sisters. He rarely spoke, but he observed everything. His grandmother's kitchen was his refuge, the only place where he felt safe. That safety would soon become the foundation of his future strength. The ring that shaped him. Liam's father feared that silence would swallow the boy, so he sent 9-year-old Liam to the church boxing club. The hall smelled of sweat and sawdust, and the air was filled with the sound of bells and fists striking bags. There, the quiet boy learned to fight. Not for glory, but to belong. By age 14, he became a youth champion for 3 years running, winning every match except the one inside himself. Then came the night that changed everything. A clean punch hit his head so hard his world went white and soundless. "My brain just went," he later recalled. When sound returned, something inside him broke. That night he walked away from boxing forever. No farewell, no trophies, only the quiet knowledge that not all wounds bleed. Rain became his companion, a steady rhythm on tin roofs that sang hunger and survival. From poverty and silence, something unbreakable was born. A life built from empty pockets. In the early 1970s, Liam left his hometown with a suitcase and a fraying coat, carrying a promise to make something from nothing. Belfast was iron grey and cold, and he worked by day and studied by night, earning pennies that never seemed to be enough. He drove trucks through freezing rain, hauled crates until his hands bled, and shoveled gravel until his back locked. At night, he returned to a rented room no larger than a prayer. When the nights grew bitter, he slept in his coat because the fire required wages he didn't have. He briefly tried university, dreaming of becoming a teacher, but hunger interrupted every class. "I used to count every penny," he said. "Sometimes I didn't buy bread at all." When money ran out, he left quietly, one more dream buried under necessity. He drifted from job to job, trading strength for survival, feeling lost and angry at himself. But fate had other plans. Theatre, where silence found a voice. In 1976, at age 24, Liam found work sweeping stages at the Lyric Players Theatre in Belfast. It was not fame, it was survival. Yet, as he brushed sawdust from the boards, something stirred inside him. Within weeks, the janitor became an actor. He spoke only 2 lines in his first performance, but those lines carried every silence he had ever survived. On stage, he finally felt heard. Poverty followed him like a shadow. But he walked miles to the theatre because bus fare was a luxury. He lived in tiny flats with strangers, sometimes sleeping on floors, meals scarce, certainty rarer. Each night under dim light, he recited words that began to sound like truth. Every performance was a prayer whispered to the dark. Then, in 1993, destiny arrived. Schindler's List, the role that made him immortal. When Steven Spielberg cast Liam as Oscar Schindler, he saw something others had missed: charm, strength, sorrow, an exact mix of guilt and grace. For 110 days of filming, Liam lived inside a man who saved thousands while carrying the weight of war. After filming the liquidation scene, he sat alone in his hotel room, unable to sleep. "It took me months to feel like myself again," he admitted. The film won 7 Academy Awards, and Liam's face became known worldwide. Yet fame only amplified his loneliness. It made his silence louder. Over time, his name became synonymous with compassion, but behind the cameras his life remained private, guarded, and deeply emotional. His work had become his refuge, and his performances were more than acting. They were survival. The love that became home. In 1993, Liam met Natasha Richardson while filming Anna Christie on Broadway. She was a radiant woman, born into theatre, with a quiet confidence that came from knowing how fragile applause can be. Their connection was immediate but subtle. In rehearsal, they spoke less with words and more with pauses. By opening night, acting and feeling had blurred. The audience believed they watched lovers discover each other. Because they were. After the curtain fell, Natasha laughed and Liam whispered, "Thank you for tonight." That sentence carried everything he couldn't say. They married in 1994 under candlelight in New York, surrounded by friends and rain tapping softly on the windows. Their home became a sanctuary of warmth and laughter. Their sons, Michial and Daniel, arrived soon after. Natasha brought light to their lives, and Liam finally learned what it meant to breathe. The day, everything changed. Their life together was ordinary in the most extraordinary way, until the day that broke it. March 2009, a bright day on a ski slope near Montreal. Natasha fell, laughed it off, returned to the lodge. Hours later, the headache began. Liam was filming in Toronto when the call came. The word accident narrowed the world to a single sound. He flew north, gripping his wedding ring until it cut his skin. At the hospital, a doctor told him the words that should not exist. "Her brain is dead." Liam entered the room expecting life, but Natasha lay still, serene, as if sleeping. He held her hand and whispered, "Sweetie, you are not coming back from this." There was no script, no second take, just the man who had played heroes, now facing a loss he could not fight. He stayed beside her, whispering love and permission to let go. Grief that refuses to leave. Liam later confessed, "I think I died that day too, but I kept breathing because she would have wanted me to." Grief did not leave when asked. It simply stayed, sitting in the corner while he pretended to live. After Natasha's death, Liam did not collapse. He moved because movement was the only way not to feel. He worked, traveled, and acted, using roles to carry his pain. Films like Taken and The Grey were more than thrillers. They were confessions. He described working through grief as a survival mechanism. His body also carried its own battles. In 2000, a motorcycle accident shattered his pelvis, leaving him in pain for years. He survived, but the damage remained. He continued doing his own stunts, sometimes out of pride, sometimes out of defiance. His body became a battlefield where every role demanded more than his pain could give. Today, a man who still stands in 2026, Liam Neeson is 73, living between New York and the countryside, in the home he once shared with Natasha. His wealth, estimated at $120 to $145 million, reflects a lifetime of steady work, not ego. He lives simply, choosing comfort and freedom over extravagance. He remains quietly generous, supporting humanitarian causes like UNICEF, Amnesty International, and refugee relief. His sons, Michial and Daniel, are grown men who carry both his strength and Natasha's grace. He visits Natasha's resting place in winter, brushing snow from her name, speaking softly into the cold. Every morning, he stretches through pain, thankful his body still carries him. He is not an immortal hero. He is a human who endured. That is why people still love him. Not because he is unbreakable, but because he keeps standing. Outro, the legacy of silence and strength. Liam Neeson's story is not a tale of triumph over fate, but of survival with dignity. He turned loss into purpose, pain into performance, and silence into strength. He became a legend not because he conquered every battle, but because he refused to disappear under the weight of grief. His life reminds us that true power is quiet endurance, holding on even when the world turns dark. His legacy is not only in his films, but in the humanity he brought to each role. In a world that celebrates loud victories, Liam Neeson shows us that the greatest courage is often the one that goes unseen. And perhaps, in the quiet of his heart, he has finally found the peace he has always deserved.